Hello everyone, this is a summary of the real guide, so if you want to have just a quick input, that's it. So the boss rotation is always the same. We have a Breath of the Dragon, we have a spear right after of the boss, which you just need to dodge, and we have the trap. But it's always the same rotation, you always have Breath, Spear, Trap. Breath, Spear and Trap. Now the fields are always where people are. You have like a pattern on this boss area, and you need to trigger those fields. If you have triggered 2 fields, but you have 3 breaths, one of the breaths will be random. Otherwise, you can basically control it. You move when you see the Breath of the Dragon. You always see, if you see the blue breath of it, then you can move. You will start with 2 lightning fields, later 3, then 4, and then later 5, until it gets very, very complex. The amount of pulls you get is HP based and not time based. That means you want to pull hero as late as possible, at 40% for example. Hello, my name is Lydian and this guide is about Skylord Tovra, which is available on Mystic Plus now in Season 4. And this guide gives you an idea of how to play the boss on Tyrannical weeks. After this guide, you're probably gonna think I'm never gonna play Skylord Tovra ever again on Tyrannical, because to me it's the most complex and it's the most difficult boss I've ever played since Legion. When it comes down to playing the mechanics perfectly. So let's have a look at the abilities. She does a freezing snare, which is basically a frost trap you need to dodge, and sometimes as a tank you can trigger it, but be careful, if you trigger it, it will root all enemies around 6 yards, so you can root your friends and bring them to death. She does a spinning spear. It's basically a spear throwing into a random direction. It's not always on the tank, and if you get hit you get a lot of damage and you will be stunned for quite a while. Then she does diffuses energy. That's basically from the dragon, which does also the Thunderous Breath. So one of the abilities, the breath itself, does hurt everyone, like every player, but there will be energy pools on the ground. Now, let's talk about the energy pools. We have different spots, like this is a pattern, which means you have like 3 patterns here. Like here can be an energy pool, like an electricity lightning pool. There can be one on red, and there can be on one skull. We also have 4 pools in the middle, or 4 spots basically, which are here. And on the other side, it's basically the same as skull, X, and blue. You have 3 again. Now you need to know where are the lines to dodge the breaths or the energy pools, so you don't get the debuff, you don't get the dot, and you can avoid a lot of damage there. So where does it start? It's basically from this line here. So this is the indicator I found. If I stand here, I will trigger X. If I stand here, I will trigger purple. If I stand here, I will trigger green. Here I'll trigger X again. X goes the whole medal. So this is X. All this is X, from here to here. If you touch the wood, you will trigger blue. If you touch the wood here, you will trigger skull. And skull, you need to be careful to not cross that line here. So this is basically the edge I am allowed to go. So this is for these 3. Let's talk about moon, green, purple and orange. From here to here. So basically this ring here, or octagon, is it an octagon? Whatever. So this one is moon, so it's just this little field which gets a pool of electricity. From here to the center, there's green. From the center back to this one, as long as you touch the metal, you will also trigger purple. And the line also goes until here, like the outside of this metal, same was here. As you remember, if I stand here, that's purple, that's red. That's purple, that's red. So this is still purple, this is red, this is blue. And this would be orange. No, this would be purple, sorry, because that line will come here. So if I want to trigger orange, I need to stand here. So those are the different poles. Now, The really complex part about this is, in the beginning of the boss fight, until 80% of boss life, the dragon will cause 2 pools. No, and it will always be on players. Now, what happens if all of the players are standing on blue? Like all 5 people are standing here on blue. What happens will be 1 pool gets to blue and 1 will be random. So the random one can be back here somewhere where we don't care. It can be close to us, it can be where we want to dodge. So basically if we bait it to blue and we want to dodge to red, here could be a pool if everyone was stacking up here. So how do we control 2 pools? Basically 2 players need to trigger 2 different fields. So what we can do is 1 player stands in the blue area, another player stands in the red area. So those 2 areas will get the pools and everyone could dodge into the middle. And you will always have 2 pools here and you basically can go around in a circle. So what we did was basically we started with skull, axe and blue. So here's the whole team. Here's the whole team. Whenever the dragon comes, you can stand close to the middle and you can dodge into the middle whenever the breath comes, because no matter where the people are standing, 2 of these 3 fields get the lightning. We don't know which one it will be, but we know middle is going to be clear. Same, then we go back to yellow, moon and orange. And we do the same thing over again. We just play there until the dragon comes and then we dodge in the right timing into the middle and there will be 2 pools over here. So that's about to start to 80%. At 80%, the dragon does 3 fields. So this strategy works out perfectly for 3 fields because you just need to trigger 3 fields. The only thing you need to be careful about is we need a player everywhere here. So remember, if everyone is standing blue and red, there will be a random field. But if one is triggering blue, one is triggering red, and one is triggering skull, you will 100% have the electricity fields over here and the middle will be always safe. At 60%, we get 4 fields. Means you take one of the ranges or healer which triggers, for example, green. That means 1 player has to be here, 1 player has to be here, probably tank. I was always as a tank in the middle, and 1 has to trigger here. So everyone could move into the middle. The only guy who is on skull needs to be careful because he needs to dodge to this area, like to the middle part, because the outer one will be the force lightning. So when the first time that happens, the range goes over here, because we have like here a pool, we have here 3 pools. So if we trigger the other side, we will want to have 3 pools here and we want to have the outer pool here on purple. So basically the whole team has only the possibility to touch into the middle ones. And after that, the pools here will disappear and you can do that over again. The most complicated part comes when it's about 5 fields. So basically, 5 fields, we have 10 fields in total, and 5 fields is half of it. So as far as I know is either the 5 fields you put down, they will disappear in time, so you can play this mechanic, or you will have 4 and 5 switching, sometimes 4, sometimes 5. That means you need a safe spot here or here. But everyone needs to focus on their position, which field they do trigger and which field you want to be safe. So that's absolutely insane when it comes down to the complexity of playing a boss, because imagine having 5 melees, like, or no, 3 melees and a tank and 1 healer, like where you need to trigger them. Okay, so how does it look like in a boss fight? First of all, in this video you will see how we did it with 2 people. Like that's how we figured it basically out. So as you can see, we go now into the area to yellow, moon and axe, and no matter which one we trigger, we stand close and then we move as soon as we see the breath of the dragon. So you need to have a look at the dragon to know when are you able to move. So the breath, the blue breath you see coming out of his mouth, that's the indicator. It always happens after the freezing trap. So we have breath, spear right after, or a little bit after, and now you have time a little. You wait until the trap is coming. The trap is here now, and now you position yourself. Get yourself ready. Watch the dragon. And in the beginning it will be faster, but we're in a fight for a couple of minutes right now, so the timing is a little bit delayed. But we didn't reach the 80%, so we always get 2 fields. Now we position ourselves. We have a look at the dragon. As soon as we see the blue breath, we can move. And that's basically how you're gonna do it. You go back and forth. You wait for the freezing trap. Now you get into position. And you watch the dragon. You see the blue breath, you move. So everyone will get a ton of damage, as you can see, but no one will get the debuff or the dot, which you get automatically if you stand in the lightning. So it's basically this back and forth. Now let's have a look how this looks like in the best try we had when we played this boss was a group.
1.
Let's go, death mode.
Cool. Spear.
Trigger, trigger.
Prepare. And move. Now, as you can see, we only have 2 fields now, and there is our shaman who always triggers one of the sides. The only reason he does that is because that's the preparation for how to play 4 fields. So for the next breath we get 3 fields, and 1 gets on the shaman and 1 got triggered on skull and moon. So you never know where are the fields exactly, but you want to basically make a pattern of triggering 4 fields at the same time. We're not able to play this with 5 fields properly. Now the shaman fucked up a little and put down a field in the middle, so we have 4 fields right now. She's in a perfect position on blue now, but the one who triggers skull has a really hard time to get into the safe zone because he basically had to move through the shit. This time it disappeared, so sometimes you do have the time, sometimes not.
I have earth element.
Range fire.
Prepare. Move. Now in this situation you see there was 1 lightning went to the other side. Let's talk about this quickly, how this happened. Now as you can see, no one stood in the moon area this time. So we're playing the boss basically in the middle, but no one of us did trigger moon. Alnessa or the paladin went there, but it was a little too late. So we had like 1 random field which was generated on the other side of the battlefield. Basically on X mark. As you can see, the breath is coming and she still touched the metal. She wasn't on the wood. So that's why there was 1 random field triggered on X mark. Alright, and as you can see now, this pattern, the next breath will leave you 2 fields of safeness, but where should it be? Where do you want your safe field and which one you want to trigger? So now it gets really complicated.
I think we need to go where the lightnings are right now. One of these spots will be safe.
Yeah.
So there is a time during a boss fight where you are able to move into the fields where our lightnings right now. As you can see, that was the solution, because I realized during that fight that this is happening right now, that when the breath is coming, that we can dodge into the fields who are lightnings right now. But this is going to change. So right now we can dodge into where some lightnings have been, but we won't be able to do that later. And mainly the reason why I decided to do that is because we're fucked. Like, because of that random field on X, we lost all of the control of the fields, and like where do you want to generate a field when you have like 4 fields you need to trigger? The only thing I realized is that X is going to be free. It's going to be a safe zone where everyone could move as quickly as possible. But at the same time, we will not be able to avoid getting a stack. Like as you can see, everyone has a debuff right now, but we have been in a safe spot really quickly. So the next time the fields won't disappear and we have one safe spot we need to generate. Now see how this turns out.
Leave green. No one goes green. Just try to spread around green a bit. We go green then. Green should be safe.
Sorry.
Move.
The quaking!
So this is a perfect example. We had only one spot left. We decided to go on green. As you can see, everyone is spreading and triggering another field. So we have the shaman, which is in one of the middle fields. We have Alnessa covering one of the mid on the outside. The warrior was standing perfectly. And the quaking was just fucking us up in that moment. What is also interesting to notice is the angel, like our healer, Angel is also triggering fields. So basically she did trigger red mark, warrior was triggering purple mark, and I was triggering one of the outer lines. So we had only one area left to dodge. Now this is a new pattern now. You want to trigger 5 or the last 4 platforms, and you need to go into that one safe spot you just leave. We are 2 people, so we have no way to control. We just have to move where it's free. So as you can see, when it starts to get into the last phase with having 4 fields, 5 fields, you basically need to control the breaths by having people all over the place. And so to me, that's one of the most interesting bosses so far. Don't worry, it will get nerfed. I don't think that's a normal Blizzard state of a boss fight. There are some difficult bosses, but this is another level. So yeah, I hope I could give you an idea of how this best boss would be played perfectly mechanical wise, but how it's going to be in the future if you're just gonna brute force it through, or to heal mistakes through, so you don't have to take that much of attention of the controlling. We'll see in the future. Have a good one, and let me know in the comments what you think about this boss. Do you know any boss which was more complex? Because spontaneously when I think about it, I can't remember any, but maybe I'm wrong. Alright, thanks for watching. Please be nice to everyone playing this boss. Like, this boss never is going to work out in a puck. As you can see, it's super complex. So don't blame anyone if things go to shit on a Tyrannical here. You might want to play it on Fortified rather. Because as you can see, we were in the dungeon for 84 minutes now. We practiced this a lot. And me and Milady, we did also practice for another 2 hours just before that. So yeah, it's very interesting. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.